What's up, and welcome to episode 252 of First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me, as always, from West Coast, Best Coast, is Emma. How are you doing?
I was so tempted that time to make a noise. So tempted, but I
Sometimes it
didn't.
just happens.
Sometimes it just happens. I'm doing good. Cannot complain. How about you?
Surviving. It's like we've had a crazy, cold spell here in Dallas for the past couple days, and so it's been
Define crazy.
it's been in the teens. So,
Okay, that is
yeah.
pretty crazy.
So
I'll give you that.
thankfully, we actually had snow last night as well. I mean, snow, air quotes, but
Yeah,
and so yeah. So for Dallas, it is pretty rough right
crazy.
now, and so we're making it through. It's definitely very chilly, and so
Yeah.
but it's not it's not that bad. Thankfully, it wasn't like a couple years ago where the storm started with a rain front moving in with it that then caused a
Oof.
ton of ice and snow and all of this stuff that just sat on the ground for a week. But this time we're supposed to be back up in the 50s by Thursday. And so that's Texas for you. And so, but yeah, other than that, yeah, we're making it through. And so,
Yeah, you are.
yeah. This week, we are going to be doing a spoiler-free chat about Echo, the latest Marvel show, as well as diving into some HBO news with Our Flag Means Death and The Last of Us Part 2 Season 2 casting updates. Before we get into that, as always, you can find us at our social media as OneGeek411. Join our Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Watch live on Twitch Monday nights around 6:45 Mountain Time. And find the videos on our YouTube where you can comment, and subscribe. Then check out that Redbubble store. Emma, what have you been up to this past week?
As of 5:45 Pacific time, Baldur's Gate 3 is at 42 gigabytes with 4 hours left to download.
Nice.
I officially bought it because I was tired of waiting / seeing everyone else having fun and stuff, and I wanted to join in on the fun. So now I have Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously haven't played it yet because it's still downloading. Got another 4 hours to go on that. But I'm excited. I've already, true to myself, decided that I'm going to play a druid for my first character.
Nice.
Because I love me a good druid. So I'm excited about that. And can't wait to join in on all the conversations and freak out about all the fun things. So yeah, that's thing number one. Thing number two, speaking of and in the same realm of D&D, on Thursday I went and watched a session of a campaign being played at Cantrip Candles. For those of you who don't know, I live close to the Cantrip Candles store, and they do D&D inspired candle things. Anyway, they do D&D on Thursday nights, and I went and watched, and it was a lot of fun and very chaotic. There is some player versus player happening and all of this other stuff that was, I knew nothing about the campaign that they're playing, didn't have any backstory or anything, but it was still very fun to sit there and watch one player get their wrist slapped for going after a very clearly cursed sword by the other players, going, no, bad, not allowed.
That's one of my favorite things is when people just embrace the meme of or understand the medium. Maybe that's another way to say it. Of this is obviously going to be a problem, but it's gonna be.
But
I'm
going to lean into it anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And they just this morning opened up signups for a second campaign they're starting on Tuesday nights that I have since thrown my name in the hat for. So I'm excited to get back into playing in person with people at least once a month. So that'll be fun. because D&D, I love me some good D&D time. Like all of us do. I started the book club book for book club, which, news alert in case you missed it last time, book club is back.
Yep.
And I'm
and it's
already
not
so
back
fast.
on Thursday. It's back on the last Monday, at least for
Ooh.
this week. So just as a reminder for everyone.
Just as a mental note for everyone involved, especially myself, because I will forget that. And I'm excited to talk about it, and it's going to be fun. It is a Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, and I'm enjoying it so far, and the cover art is fun. But more thoughts on the last Monday of this month, because this is just normal podcast, and not book club podcast. And then last but not least, this time last week I did not know how to crochet. This time this week I do know how to crochet because I decided to pick up a new hobby, and that is learning how to and doing crochet. And I am making a blanket for my nephew for his first birthday, and it's very fun. And I am enjoying it, and it's a great activity to do while catching up on all of the TV and as a break from applying to jobs, because applying to jobs is boring but necessary to live. And so I will sit here and crochet for fun and have something nice come out of it, which will be a blanket for my nephew. So that's been my week.
Pre moving to Connecticut, when I was like applying for jobs, because like that was really the only that was the only time I had like a prolonged job application time. Like I ended up, when I moved back, I ended up getting my job relatively fast, which was very nice. But like that one was months, and like to not lose my sanity, I had to like time it out of like, on Monday it is hit all of these places, apply for every job, get everything submitted for all of them. And then like the rest of the week would typically be responding to things from like the week or two before. But like that was the only way I could keep my sanity, was having it actually like segregated. So this is especially like, and it's
this
same
is
for
the application day. Like, this is the email responding day. This is the
because it's like kind of similar to what you're doing, where it's like applying for a very like niche field. Like I wasn't just like applying for jobs. It was and like that was just like
I have a very specific thing in mind.
And so I hope that continues, or I hope that does go well and continues to build off. It
has been going well so far, and it continues to go well. I took the weekend off from applying. I figured I might as well have some kind of like, okay, it's the weekend now. Like, we're gonna pretend this is a job until you actually have a job, and take the weekend off to do fun things. So
I think that's so important when you're
and I'm going to lunch with a mentor and professor from USC this coming weekend, who may have some job leads for me as well, which will be kind of fun. So fingers crossed that she has some ideas there, because she knows people, which is slightly better than the Indeed job board online.
Exactly.
How has your week been?
My week was good. Sorry, I'm remembering I forgot to put the echo stuff in the title, so I'm adding that in.
I am just trying to provide a transition from me to you.
And so the week's been good. One of the big things I'll call out, with more information coming next week, is with Mayfly, who popped into chat. Welcome, Mayfly. Going to be starting a short campaign, couple sessions of Candela Obscura. And so Mayfly built the Discord today, and so I'm excited to go. I haven't really dug into a lot of the lore behind it, aside from the like high level how the game is played type stuff that I watched when they were all like going through all those announcements leading up to the Critical Roles sessions of it. But I'm really excited to go and dig through more of that. This is kind of like, for me, this is the you crocheting last week is me Candela Obscura this week, of like something's there and more to come. And so but
it's called a hyper focus, Cameron.
Exactly.
You pick a new thing and you go, yes, this.
Exactly.
Correct.
So more to come. Similar to what you were saying with Cantrip Candles. I'm so excited to play more TTRPGs. Just so much cool stuff there, and I'm so excited to try out a new one. I have not played. Candela Obscura is a D6 based system versus a D20 system, and so I have not played any D6 based ones that I recall, and so I'm very excited to jump in and try it out. I did run Honey Heist, which is technically a D6 system, but like that was also only technically Honey Heist. Like,
yeah,
in the sense of like I changed a lot of how that game worked just because I was playing with people that were not familiar with TTRPGs. So
yeah,
and I wasn't a player; I was running it, and honestly, I don't know if I rolled dice that whole session. I had them roll a lot, which was my goal.
All right.
So I don't know if I actually like rolled any D6s. So, but yeah. And so that's coming up soon. We finished watching Schmigadoon, finished season 2 of it. And so very excited, kind of like what you were saying about the cursed item. Wow, I can't wait. Like there were some things in there that were just like, oh no, I can't imagine that it's going this way. And so, which way
could this possibly be going?
Exactly. And I know I mentioned that last week I love them embracing the tropes. And in season 2, there's a set of characters that they acknowledge are like references to Sweeney Todd. And then things go bad because these are obviously characters that are references to Sweeney Todd. And so it was just super funny. And so really liked it. Getting short seasons. I think they're like 6 episodes each. So if you have access to Apple TV, Apple Plus, whatever.
I do.
Apple Max,
a friend of mine
whatever.
This week just added me to their Apple Plus subscription because I added them to my Disney Plus subscription. So it was a swapsies deal.
Hey, that's how you do it. Like that's what we do.
Hey, I've got this, you've got that, here's the passwords.
Yeah, like we mooch Hulu off of a Panda Boy and then share Disney Plus with him. And so
there you go.
But yeah. And then video game front, handful of things as always. I played the Pokemon Violet Epilogue DLC, which takes place after the 2-part DLC that they already released. Epilogue is about an hour. It's fine. And so I wish it was enjoyable. I just wish it was actually connected narratively to the rest of what went on. It just seems kind of random. And so, but
it's just there.
Yeah, it's just there. Like, it's not bad story. It's just it did not feel like a conclusion to the story. Like it it feels like just another mission that you went on. And so I just wish it would have
wasn't a resolution to anything in specific.
So yeah, so still like that. I mean, it was fun. Again, I feel like I'm coming off as mopey, but I had a lot of fun with it. And then
there you go.
In the other realm of things, I started playing Nobody Saves the World, which is like an action game that was one of the PlayStation Plus games for this month. It does have co-op, and so at some point, I think Chunk and I are going to play. But speaking of fixations, I kind of hit the I want to try this game, and oh man, now I'm 20 hours in. And so here we are. It's like a pretty mindless action game. But the gimmick is that you're a nobody, amnesia, literally nobody, and wake up and you find this wand, and that wand lets you change shapes into different things, and each of those forms have different powers. So, for example, you can turn into a horse, and then the horse can kick things and deal damage. There you
go.
Yeah, you can turn into a snail, and the snail leaves a trail of goo as they walk around and stuff like that. And so you're mixing and matching powers. It's pretty fun. Like I said, I'm definitely enjoying it. I need to I think I'm at the point where I need to finish the next piece of story because I've been doing a lot of the other missions. And it's I'm kind of getting stuck.
You side quest
Yeah.
You side quest so hard that you're now overpowered.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe, and so we'll see. I need to go try to do that. Admittedly, I was like not want to put in the effort stuck, like, you know what I mean, of like it's
Yeah.
not difficult, it's just I need to do this in like one of the story dungeons, because there's like an effect that if you heal yourself, it heals the bad guys. And like I definitely could have like just powered through it, but I was like, you know what, side quests. And so I just like side quested my way around that. And then other thing, played A Plague Tale Requiem, or started A Plague Tale Requiem, over on Karen plus Deanna for this week. It's a sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence, which I did not finish, and so I'm not entirely sure story-wise what things are, but we're having fun. And so it's a game that takes place in like a fictional 1400s during the plague. And so, but it's like magical twist on the plague basically. And so, but I'm enjoying it so far. Looking forward to playing more. It has the very like PlayStation vibe of like a first party place. It's not a first party PlayStation game, but feels like one.
Yeah.
Of like the tight, over the shoulder, third person action game, very character driven plot. Like,
yep,
it's a tale of like the sister and her younger brother. Like, it's just like right out of like PlayStation's like catalog basically. And so I'm loving it because there's a reason I love PlayStation first party games, and this other studio did the thing that I like. So here we are.
A note that relates to that. I was playing the God of War DLC.
Oh, yeah?
A couple days ago, and I got to the part, like, I don't want to say it's towards the end, but like where you see the Greek thing, spoilers, and the camera pulls back, because it's typically with this new God of War, it's the tight over the shoulder camera, but then the camera pulls back to settle into the older camera POV for the older games, where Kratos is much smaller on the screen. And it made me so happy. It was this whole thing. There's this whole thing that happens where you go from new God of War camera position to old God of War camera position, and I was so happy about it. And it made me squeal. And I was just so happy. Okay, I just had to mention that because a thing happens, and it's very clearly a callback to the older games that I was just like, ooh, I love it.
Yeah. I've said it before, and I will say it again. Like, that DLC went so hard, and it did not need to.
Yeah.
And
they have not needed to go this hard. But they have, and I love them for it because,
it's just
because reasons.
And then last thing, and this is going to kind of transition into our topics, or our main topic for this week, is watched all of Echo over on Disney Plus, the latest Marvel show. Emma, have you had a chance to check any of this out yet?
Nope.
Okay.
But I will at some point.
Just because it wasn't in your stuff. So, like I said, I want to, especially since this is just me, I'm going to keep this high level. I just want to kind of share thoughts on the show, and then we'll get into some HBO news. So, Echo is the latest MCU project. And it is a mini series akin to WandaVision, Hawkeye, and this is pretty much a direct follow-up to Hawkeye. And so this is also the 10th television project for the MCU. As we talked about last week, this also does some stuff to canonize the Netflix projects. Asterisk, there's some stuff that they, like, I don't want to go back on like what we literally talked about last week, but maybe they're not as canon as we thought, ... We'll talk about it after the show. I don't want to give spoilers, but like there's a thing in there that like is kind of it's a Easter egg that might point to whether or not they're canon or not, or it could have just been a character being the character. But I don't want to go into that on air because that is kind of a spoiler, but yeah. So Echo follows Aliqua Cox's Maya Lopez, who we met in Hawkeye. She is deaf and is a member, I believe, of the Cherokee. Am I getting that wrong? Let me go here. Choctaw. There we go. She's a member of the Choctaw Nation, and in Hawkeye was a leader head of the tracksuit mafia. And so through this show, it picks up pretty directly at the end of Hawkeye with Maya dealing with dealing with the consequences of those actions. So first off, difference of this versus the other series, they dropped all of this at once. So normally Disney Plus, they follow the normal TV method versus the Netflix method, where it's an episode a week. And so when it was announced that this show was going to be dropped all in one day, a lot of people took that as like a sign of bad faith in the show, of it being like sent out to die. But I got to tell you, the show goes hard. Like,
there you go.
I don't think it necessarily lives up to like seasons 1 and 3 of Daredevil, but like it definitely has that DNA, and you can definitely see the more like gritty roots that they're going for with this show, kind of trying to tie it in a bit more with that side of the like the street level MCU. And so it is, I will say, it's definitely TVMA. Like, it's funny seeing the like warning pop up at the start of the episodes. That's like not suitable for all audiences. But I really liked that. Aliqua just continues to kill it. Like, I love that she has like not acted, and like a friend of hers made her apply to play Echo, like made her audition.
That is fantastic.
And because like she is like, she's actually deaf, just like Echo is. Like, she is not Choctaw, but like she is a member of one of the Native Americans, like one of the Native American nations. And like her friend was like, you just have to apply. You are the character. And then she got it. And I just love that she is getting to live this out. It's kind of similar to Imam playing Miss Marvel. It's just like, it's this person who is just like so perfect for this character, getting to play this character.
Yep.
And so so it's definitely, again, a much more grounded, grittier take on this show. It's we do get the return of several major characters. I don't want to necessarily go into all of them because there are some that are like, I don't want to say spoilers, but there are some that are like surprising to see show up. I do want to say, as always, Vincent D'Onofrio kills it as Kingpin.
Yes.
That man, I mean, he can play that character in literally any project, and I'll be excited. And so, just like the details of how he plays that character are so insanely good. Then overall, I will say, what complaints there? Marvel does have a bit of the, and I'm trying not to get into spoilers. So I'm trying to like condition what I'm gonna say within not having spoilers. Marvel does struggle with like the third act problem of like what are we doing here? This doesn't fall into the normal like super powered characters got to fight someone with the exact same power as them, but they win by the power of friendship trope of like,
oh boy.
it doesn't fall into that, but the like final confrontation is definitely not, it doesn't live up to, I think, to the rest of the season. Like, it builds up to a really cool point, and then I feel like the actual fight is a bit of a dud, which is I don't want to say kind of the point, but like it's definitely, I think they could have done something a little bit different there.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, fantastic show. I loved them getting to shine a light on another culture that a lot of people, despite living very close to Oklahoma for almost my whole life, I went to college in Oklahoma. Like, I'm not overly familiar with a lot of the Native American tribes that live there. And so really cool to get to see a lot of that and get to see characters or getting to see actors kind of play their like see people that are cast so well. Again, we went to Avatar last week, and that's kind of where I'm coming from of like how poorly cast that movie was. And so,
there is no movie in Boxing Say.
Exactly. And so I definitely recommend. Again, it is definitely TVMA, but honestly, there's a lot of this that is how I wish the Black Widow movie was. Like, I feel like if they would have embraced this style for the Black Widow movie, which is all about assassins doing assassin things, like, I think that movie would have been a lot better. Which is
coming from the guy who was in the minority of opinion for the Black Widow movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's... I feel like I found myself, sidebar, of like, I found myself in weird places with certain things of the like, it's not that I liked Black Widow, it's just that I liked it more than y'all.
Yeah.
And like, that was a thing that's so weird of like, I found myself like defending that movie, not as someone that thought it was like a 10 out of 10, but I feel like y'all thought it was like a 2 or 3 out of a 10, and I thought it was a 5.
It was.
And like, I think it's like mediocre at best, but like, I found myself like having to defend that movie, just because I was slightly higher than y'all. The inverse of that is what happened this year with Sea of Stars and the video game front, where like, that's a game that I enjoyed. But there are some people over here with Sea of the Stars as like a 10 out of 10, and I don't think it falls that way.
Yeah.
Or Stray is the game that happened to last year for me.
Yep.
As well, of like, or in 2022, of like, that game is one that I was like, I don't think this lands. Like, it's fun, but again, it's just funny how like Black Widow is then I'm by no means an apologist for that movie, but versus like Eternals, that like I will legitimately go to bat for part of that movie, which again I don't think is amazing, but there are parts of that movie that are super good.
We have not discussed the giant head in the middle of the ocean since that movie.
But that's not
you would
Eternals
think Marvel of all franchises would acknowledge the giant head in the middle of the ocean. Since the time that movie has happened. Yeah.
But see, that's not a problem with the Eternals. That's a problem with everything else. And so, but yeah. And so, there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff from Echo that like I really feel like they should have borrowed from in terms of how Black Widow should have been. And so, I am hopeful that we'll continue to see this type of characterization within the MCU. There are, again, without spoilers, there are theories that this could be setting up like what Spider-Man 4 is going to be about. And so I'm hopeful that we continue to see that type of stuff. I would love to see Echo and Spider-Man fight, then team up. And so,
ooh, vibes.
But that's also is just kind of like my general statement of like every character of I would like to see them fight Spider-Man, then team up and become friends. And so not necessarily a like crazy thing there, but with all of that, we'll wrap up. Or I guess before I do that, Emma, any questions from you about Echo?
No, but I will be getting to it at some point soon, hopefully.
Sounds good. I will say episodes are relatively short. So, like, that's something that I think was overall good with it being binge, is that you're not, like, it's not 5-hour episodes. It's like some of them are like 40 minutes, some are closer to an hour, but like you're not doing like a full 5 hours of content, which I think is good. And obviously, like the last 5 to 10 minutes is credits a lot of times. And so, um, but yeah, so highly recommend Echo. I hope people can go and check it out, show some support to this type of project. And yeah, from that, chat, commenters, let us know if you've watched Echo, what it is that you think. If you want to discuss spoilers, hop over into the Discord and we can chat about them there. But that will bring us out of Echo and into our first of our HBO show updates. Emma, what do you got for us?
Yes, HBO. We love it. We hate it. We neutral on it. Our Flag Means Death has been canceled. Unfortunately, in my dear heart, it is unfortunately. I was going to say or fortunately, depending on who you ask. But
There's
it
no
is
fortunately.
Unfortunately, there is no fortunately.
If you're fortunately, you're wrong. So
yes, correct. Which is an unfortunate because it was always planned to be a 3-season story arc, and we have fallen short by a season with just 2 seasons. It is very sad and disheartening for especially a show like this that is so representative of and supportive of the queer community, and has been nothing but, positiveness and support for a group like that has been so underrepresented. Um, it is so sad also because pirates. We love pirates. We need a good pirate comedy show. At least in my humble opinion, but I'm biased because I like pirates. There is a petition currently existing on the internet, at least one, probably more than one, to get it renewed and get that 3rd season because it was always planned by the showrunner to be a 3-season show. The petition currently has 51,000 signatures, which is, fabulous. Their next reach goal is 75,000. The one big unfortunate with petitions for shows being canceled is that oftentimes a show getting canceled is more so about money than about viewership / audience attachment to a show, which means chances are Our Flag Means Death was canceled more so for financial reasons of not being able to make the 3rd season than for viewership reasons. So HBO and the studios, there's a high chance they know that there are people who really want season 3, but there's just no, because season 2 was filmed in part in New Zealand, which was super expensive for them, and part of the reason there were 8 episodes in season 2 instead of 10 episodes like season 1. So chances are its cancellation was due to, the cost of making the show rather than it not having enough viewers or numbers per se. So petitions aren't necessarily going to help as much in getting it renewed because that's just people saying, hey, we want the show back on, not here's finances for it. The only way that a petition would really help in this case is if it convinced another studio to pick the show up and buy the show rights for its 3rd season. Which is, as much as it sucks, it is the fact of the matter of entertainment and the business that it is. I love my petitions. I have myself signed to this petition because I do, love this show, but at the same time, there is some amount of reality that we have to exist in of, there's a 99% chance Our Flag Means Death was canceled because it is such an expensive show to make. I mean, you've got big names attached to the show. It uses a huge volume wall set, plus the entire ship is like multiple pieces on wheels that's physically there that they have to wheel around. It is a very expensive show to make. So there is some logic to why it was canceled, even though it sucks. Like, I would love to see that third season. And if we could get some kind of fundraising thing to contribute, another $100 million to the third season, then let's do it. But $100 million is asking a lot.
Yeah.
So
when I'm president of TV.
Yeah. When Cameron is president of TV, we're going to get the third season of Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah. It can get second place in all of the awards that The Last of Us wins. To go back to a conversation from last week.
First place is The Last of Us. Second place is Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah. As you said, like, I'm super sad about this. I loved Our Flag Means Death, both seasons, and I'm definitely sad that this is going with only one season left to go. I know that was something that, like, you had said before we had even started recording, of like, just give them another season. Like, let them finish the story. We talked about this recently with Good Omens too, or Good Omens as well, where it's like there was a plan for the length of that story, and let them tell the story that they set out to tell, like greenlight projects for that. I'm sure a part of this also is strikes affecting things of like, now that we're like, this is something that maybe would have gotten a season, because when it would have gotten plugged in normally in the schedule, there would not have been funding for other projects, or there would not have been funding being spent on other projects. There we go. But now with the strikes like restarting, maybe like money is now being diverted elsewhere, and that means that this can't happen. So it's super sad to see great projects that have great, like, inclusivity, for lack of a better word. That's the word that came to mind. I guess that is what I mean. But had great like diversity. Maybe that's another way to say it. To see them kind of get put on the wayside. And so, I hope that we see more of this. I hadn't even thought of what you said about having another network pick it up. I don't know if HBO ever does that. I know, like...
but that's really the only hope for getting a season 3 at this point in time. And there's only... I've only heard of it happening one other time. I think with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I know Futurama did that as well, where Futurama changed networks.
Yeah. I'm not entirely positive that it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but there's a show in that realm
was it Community?
That I know of. I don't remember specifically, but I've heard of it happening like once or twice before.
I think it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think you're correct.
Yeah, but it's not a super common thing to have happen. Because studios don't want to pay the hefty rights fee for the property, on top of spending the additional money for producing it. Especially for something like Our Flag Means Death. It's such a specific and sort of big thing right now that the price tag for the rights alone would be a lot. Let alone the production cost for a show like that. Because in reality, as someone who exists in this industry, a show like Our Flag Means Death does have a high production price tag. So, yeah. Which is probably why it would not get picked up.
Yeah. So in chat, Risto says Community did change many times. 6th season of movie was a joke, and they changed networks like 3 times. Arrested Development changed. I believe the final season being picked up by Netflix. And then Brooklyn Nine-Nine in 2019 was canceled by Fox, and that ended up getting picked up by NBC, it looks like.
Yeah.
And so that was the one that there was a very vocal fan outrage might be the wrong word.
Like fans being vocal about the cancellation.
Fans actually like supporting the work, because I do remember seeing stuff about like the show getting renewed and then the actors being like, hey, but the show's actually on now, please go watch it. Like,
Yeah.
don't wait for it to change networks to go watch it. And so
Yeah.
but hopefully, again, would love for Our Flag Means
Yeah.
Death to get picked up.
Like, if it happens, if another studio does pick it up, great. Like, I will be so excited if that happens.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, the assumption
a
is
bit
it's
of
not,
a yeah, I'm just gonna assume that that won't happen because, like, a lot of those shows that have been picked up by other studios, if you look at them all, like, in the grand scheme of things, would not be shocking if they had a lower production budget than something like Our Flags Mean Death. And if the budget is about the same, it's that money is either going elsewhere that can be trimmed or can just straight up be trimmed altogether. Whereas Our Flag Means Death as a show would suffer tremendously from a drop in production finances.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
That's the reality.
Yep. Yeah. From there, I think we're gonna hard pivot. Like,
hard pivot.
We're sad about Our Flag Means Death, and we're gonna hard pivot into some news that has me crazy hyped. We've been discussing this over in the Discord as well. For our second piece of HBO news, we've gotten some news about The Last of Us Season 2, as referenced at the top of the show, specifically announcements of casting, with young Mazzino taking on the role of Jesse, Isabel Merst as Dina, and then Caitlin Dever as Abby. And so these three are probably the three most important new characters going into season 2. Obviously, like Ellie and Joel, and then like we'll still see a lot of the other characters as well. But like in terms of the three, or in terms of the new characters, I'd say probably 3 of the 4 most important new characters. And so really excited with these. Overall, honestly, they're not people that I'm overly familiar with. I was looking through their IMDb's. The only thing that I really recognized, I recognized nothing for Young. And then Isabella Merst played Dora in the Dora the Explorer movie. And so that was really the only thing. And I haven't seen that. That was just like something that I recognized.
Yeah.
And then Caitlin was in Last Man Standing. Chunk and I had a big conversation. Apparently that show's fantastic and I just missed it. And so I might have to go back and watch that. And then I know a lot of people have been talking about her role in Booksmart. And she also has a handful of other things to her name, including a Globe and Emmy nomination for the show Dopesick and a Golden Globe nomination for Unbelievable for some of the shows that she has worked in the past. And so how do you feel about this casting or these castings?
I'm glad that they're sticking true to the ethnicities of the characters. Dina and Jesse specifically as, people of color. Which makes me happy. They're sticking to that, like, wanting to be diverse and as well as true to the source material. Similar to you, I haven't seen any of these actors in their other works. Like, I haven't watched their other works, so I don't really have a good sense of them as actors or things, but I am, as always, hopeful, given the first season I had not seen any of Bella's previous works,
Mm-hmm.
and the casting in that is great. Um, I would love to see in season 2 some of the part 2 actors making cameos similar to the first season. So getting to see Laura Bailey show up, because Laura Bailey plays Abby,
Mm-hmm.
and getting to see all of these other voice actors who played these characters
Yeah.
in the games, like have a little, even if it's just a you know 3-minute scene,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
show up, because it's something that we as fans loved so much about the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to keep an eye out for the voice actors, even if it's just again, a 3-minute scene, but
Yeah.
also getting to see new people in those roles and putting their own touch and character and personality into those roles.
Mm-hmm.
Because we, with Pedro and Bella, um, as the two main characters of the show, they made those characters their
Mm-hmm.
own.
For sure.
But then we also got to see Ashley and
Troy.
not Joe, Troy. Thank you. Ashley and Troy like make an appearance and like pay homage to their characters that really became a part of who they are as real people. So that's really what comes to mind for me about season 2, is I'm excited to see what these actors bring to the roles, because the casting so far and into season 1 has been so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see how they make the characters their own. At the same time, I'm also like, I would love to see the voice actors for these characters who have already taken on these characters in the games, like bring a little something to the show and be honored for the time and effort and work they've already put into developing these characters. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, we wouldn't have Abby without you know not I keep getting my Critical Role actors mixed up in my head. Bailey,
Yes.
Laura Bailey. There you go. I was gonna say Ashley Johnson, and I was like, that's not right. Ashley Johnson plays Ella.
She's still there.
All of
but,
the
like,
Critical Role people.
Yeah.
I watch way too much Critical Role. I watch way too much Dimension 20. You can tell I'm a D&D person. Where do you know the voice actor from? Probably D&D.
Yep.
But I would I'm just seeing how well they've honored the source material with season 1. I'm excited to see where they go with season 2, and I have not been disappointed so far, and that means that I have faith in these actors to bring something to these roles that I haven't seen before. So, yeah.
Yep. I'm right there with you. Like, I know there was a lot of questions around. I don't even want to say like bad questions. I feel like it wasn't like, how dare these people be cast? But like, I feel like there was a lot of questions going into season 1, especially around Bella. And she killed it. Like, and kind of with that, I think they very much proved that, like, I mean, Neil is involved in the project, like, very much proved that he has, that, like, his work is being treated well as Craig as the director, like, understands the IP. And so I feel like between them and all the other amazing people that did extremely hard work on season 1, I feel like they very much proved that, like, they know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
they can, in air quotes, be trusted to handle the IP well, versus some other projects where the showrunners have shown that they cannot be trusted to handle the material. And so
There is no movie in Bossing Say.
exactly. And so, yeah, I'm really hopeful for all of this. And like I said, these are 3 insanely important roles. I'll say for me, oh, and I didn't mention this, Isabella who's playing Dina, is in the Madam Web movie that comes out soon.
Yeah.
So, not out yet. I'm interested in that movie because I want to Mystery Science Theater that movie so bad.
Yes.
That and Craven. Oh man, but that's a story for another time. And so, but yeah, so for Dina and Abby in specific, like those are the two roles that like are so critical to me for the story. Like Jesse's great, glad that he's gonna be around, but like to me, like Abby and Dina are the characters that like have to be nailed, have to be done right. Lev is the other one who we don't have casting news for yet, but is IMO of the characters that we haven't or that are new to this one. Like Lev is the most important other character that we haven't found, and like that, those three I think are, as long as those three are done well and done right, with good people playing them and stuff like that, we should have an awesome season. And so I did a very brief Google, and it looks like production starts February 12th. And so we should be getting going on that relatively soon. And I have not...
I'm just going to say, I wish I knew someone who was on the production team so that I could get a job on The Last of Us. If anyone on The Last of Us production team out there is listening, please give me a job.
Yeah. Also, if you need extras, I will gladly get wrecked by a clicker. And so, but then also, this is kind of like a great day for us to be talking about this because 1 year ago, episode 1 premiered on HBO.
Hey!
And so it is the anniversary of the show. I saw a post about that.
Happy anniversary!
It had not had chance to Google to confirm, but yeah, I'm super excited for this. I think that it looks like we're having great casting, and even for the actors who I'm not familiar with, like the general vibe for all of them has been very positive by the community. And so with the obvious, we got to protect Caitlin, like
obviously,
but won't say too much more than that because of spoilers. But like with all the stuff that went on after the first one, and so we, as the internet of hopefully good fans, need to come to her and have her back. And because of toxic people, but hopefully it will not be
still in the camp of the thing that happened at the start of part 2 needed to happen, or part 2 would have been awful.
I agree. I'm there with you.
As much as so many people hated it, as someone, again, in the craft of storytelling, that thing needed to happen, or else you would have hated it so much worse.
Yeah.
It would have been so much worse. No. Just gonna say that again. I will stand by that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
It needed to happen. Needed to happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hard agree. We might do, I don't know. I'm always torn on us doing like late to the party spoiler chats. But like, I kind of want us to do, because like I'm gonna start replaying The Last of Us Part 2 soon. I'm
in the middle of a replay, like replay number 3, or something.
I don't
insane.
think did we do a formal spoiler cast for?
I don't remember.
We'll check and we'll circle back.
I know we talked about it in bits and pieces because I was playing Part 2 first before I played Part 1. But I don't know if we ever did a proper spoiler cast.
Yeah, maybe we do a like revisited leading into the show starting. And so I think that would be a good, but we'll circle back on that in post-show chat.
Yep.
My YouTube is being garbo lately. But with that, let's get ready for wrapping up the show. And so big things, as referenced at the top of the show, book club is going to be on January 29th, the last Monday of the month. We're reading A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And so Shanine will be back and will be joining us for that. So very excited about that. And then I hope that people will come and be able to hang out. It's a fantastic book, very quick read. Check your local libraries. Mine had it for free. And so definitely recommend. And so, and then with that, should be back next week, continuing with episode 253. But until then, we are First Geek 411. You can find us around social media or join our Discord server. You can shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Check out Redbubble, watch live on Twitch, and find the videos over on YouTube, or you can like, comment, and subscribe. And then, of course, you can find us at our personal social medias if you want to connect with us that way as well. Mine is Humar Whittle.
Mine is I am not prepared with an I in the prepared.
And it's been a great week.
I almost put my computer to sleep there.
Go watch Last of Us.